from real estate agents, such as how to convert open house leads that you're generating. I've thought of, what do you do when you're getting inbound calls, such as inbound sign calls? I'm a fucking animal at converting inbound sign calls. So I wanted to be able to deliver that knowledge back to you. We wanted to talk a little bit about email marketing tips. We use MailChimp. We wanted to talk a little bit about automation when it comes to things like that as well. So let's dive right in. Okay, so open house lead conversion. I kind of wanted to start off with that because most of us on this call are realtors. I'm going to turn on my do not disturb. That's one thing I did not do. Otherwise, I'm going to get 5,000 trillion notifications here. Okay. So, so full disclosure, I fucking hate hosting open houses. However, hosting an open house was actually my very first source of business. It was my very first listing. It was my very first buyer closing. And they both closed on the very same day. And it was a $12,000 paycheck, which in the state of Iowa is pretty damn good. I mean, that's not too shabby. It was a $250,000 listing and a $400,000 purchase. So 650 grand, not too shabby. And that was also when I was working a full-time job. So it was really nice to have. And I met them at an open house and converted them. How I did that was you need to make sure that you take control of the situation. When you're taking control of the situation, I don't mean being all salesy, hovering over them. And how long have you been working with a realtor? It's okay to ask them some questions and things like that, but you definitely want to give them their space. What you don't want to do is ever let people come in and out of your open house and never have a way to get a hold of them ever again. Okay. That was a mistake that I was making after I was converting. I had converted those leads, and then for some reason that fell by the wayside. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do right here that I'm not doing over here? And then I started hating open houses, and I went back and I reassessed my business, and I realized I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying to see what stuck. And what it was I didn't have control over how I was collecting and handling this information. Okay. And I also wasn't building relationships with these people. People, for some reason, when they come into an open house, their guard is up. They're immediately like, I don't know. I guess I do know, we all know, like they've met the wrong realtors at open houses. You've got to be the right realtor, right? So you've automatically got to be the right person that when they walk in, you've got to be 1,000 times better than any other realtor they've ever met. You've got to be 1,000 times more charming, but you do have to have their information in order for you to do anything about it. Realtors think that when they have all of this information in print, i.e. flyers, i.e. business cards, that take one and go, that you're ever going to hear from these people again. You are never going to hear from these people again. If you're at a networking meeting, anything, and you hand somebody a business card, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, you're never going to hear from that person again. They might have all the best intentions in the world, but right place, wrong time, you're just plain never going to hear from them again, because it gets lost. It's going to get lost from me in my car. I don't know. My car eats business cards for lunch. I don't know why. It just does. If I don't, I will straight up tell somebody to their face, do not give me your business card. I'm going to lose it in 5 seconds, you know? So what I do is I text, and I'm going to write that down. I'm going to show you guys my Popple, the lifesaver. So I'll show you guys the whole digital business card aspect, but paper business cards suck. And what you're doing is that's just one more aspect for you to put the control back into the consumer or the other guy's hand, the ball back in the other guy's court to never call you again. So you're just not converting again. So I guess I'll just show you guys that now. That'll be the first thing that we'll go over. Okay, so here is my gram. I'm going to share my screen, but I'm going to go to my main profile. Okay. Whistling to stall. Okay. So my grams here. On my bio, I've got Popple Me. I have a link that you guys can use if you end up wanting to do Popple, by the way. So don't just like willy-nilly get Popple, because I've got a good link for you. Actually, Matt, can you grab our link and throw it in the chat? So what it happens first, by the way, guys, I never use anything. You know how they have those like, oh, look, I've got this cool tap thing on the back of my phone, and you just tap it on the other guy's phone, blah, blah, blah. Nope. Those like work like 30% of the time. And then you look like a fucking idiot because you're tapping it and you're like, oh no, like, let's try one more time. I swear it's like really cool when it does work. No. So what I do, and this is also why I do, because when they ask me for my business card, is I'll say, let me text it to you. That's number one. I've got their number. Like, I don't do business cards. Let me text it to you. Okay. So number one, I immediately have their number. Okay. If that's not cool or whatever, for some reason, I'm like, just follow me on Instagram. I'm that broker girl. Okay. That's another reason why I made that broker girl or something easy to remember, is they can follow me on Instagram and find my info. Okay. I also comfort them and I'll say, there's going to be a pop-up. You can either connect with me or you can just like totally X out of it. It's no big deal. And they can. It's super easy to X out of it. But you would be surprised, and I'll show you guys how many people completely will just like, it'll be like, so-and-so connected with you, so-and-so connected with you. And it's so easy. They just connect with me and I easily add them as a contact. It's so cool. By the way, this is like it's between $2 and $3 a month for this. So if you're wondering the cost of the pro, I think like there's a free version and a pro version. I'm on the pro. So this is what, and obviously this is made for a mobile device. So you're looking at the mobile version here. So how I have mine set up is, this is like my background. I try to keep my bios similar across my social media platforms. I try to optimize them per social media platform. So I'm not going to put like that I'm equally offensive and charming on my LinkedIn necessarily, because maybe that's not going to like fly right on LinkedIn. So I just try to keep it kind of like this. But I have that on my Instagram like that. I kind of just keep it a little bit similar, if that makes sense. Okay. So, Anyway, you can highlight certain things. So this is highlighted across the whole thing if anyone wanted to like book a consult with me. But up here, they can save my contact. But for some reason, I feel like some people view things a certain way. And then I decided to make like a straight up contact card icon, if that makes sense. So here's a contact card icon, just in case their eyeballs don't quite relate to this. Here's the contact card. Here's my Virtuplicity website. Here are our Google reviews. Here's my, normal real estate website, Instagram, all my social media shit on down. Okay. So instead of business cards that you also have to pay money to keep reordering that get trashed. That is how I handled that. And, I honestly can't tell you the last time that I reordered business cards. Also, when it comes to open houses, I straight up quit printing flyers. I will either, if I am a girl which I'm not, but let's say you're a girl or a guy that feels like you have to have flyers, make the lender print them off. There are plenty of lenders that are like, please let me drop flyers off. Like, I would love to co-brand blah, blah, blah with you. Like, be like, I'm hosting an open at whatever. You can drop flyers off. Yeah. They would love to do that for you. Have the lenders do that. They would absolutely love to do that. Save yourself the hassle. Okay. I don't think that we use lenders enough for that type of stuff. So, use lenders up for that. They would love to do that. So give them your open house schedule. Let them know what's up. Tune in, Danny.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Especially because I know a lot of lenders have rules regarding how the specific loan officer can market themselves. And so some don't even let their LOs market outside of their agency, right? So that's a way for that LO to actually get their particular name out there without violating certain policies their company might have. So it's actually doing them a huge favor too. And you're absolutely right. They would be 100% happy to do it. So, and most of us have software and flyers already ready to go. It's kind of like a plug and play thing. So definitely leverage them.
Awesome. Yeah. And I straight up will, like, I don't really ever print them. If I do, I use lenders, and usually I don't. And when I don't, I do two things. I'll either say it's been so busy that I ran out, especially if it's my own listing. I'm like, oh, you better write fast, like I ran out. Let me text you the flyer. Boom. I've got their information again. Instead of being like all awkward, like, oh, you gotta sign in, give me your fucking ID, all this weird shit, right? Like making it awkward, like seller request sign in. Like, I hate that shit. Like, why are we doing this to people? Just like, I'll text you the flyer. Like, boom, let's just make it easy on people, So this is kind of like how I just flow with it. I just am so natural about it. Like, let me just text you the flyer. Everybody has a phone these days. Or the only thing that I will print out is a QR code to the flyer, which happens to have my CRM that they have to, log into. Boom. Register in, So that is how I get their information, how I convert them. Nikki, are you on the call? Oh, no, I couldn't see. Nikki does amazing with her like handwritten notes. She is incredible with her follow-up game with her like thank you notes. And why I love that is that really does speak to people like, hey, it was great meeting you at the open house. Okay, so that part's really good. But at the actual open house, there's a statistic, and it is in the high 90s. Wish I looked it up ahead of time, but I didn't think I'd stick on opens this long. Sorry, guys. It's in the high 90s that the chances of somebody writing an offer from viewing an open house is like fucking like, very slim, right? We all know this. That's why opens don't sell a house. And that's why we hate doing opens. We're just going to pick up buyers, which we really don't want. Well, I mean, I shouldn't speak for you guys. I love listings. I'm a listings girl. I'm not a buyer's girl. Okay. So, how I convert leads at opens. They don't want that house. What I do at the open is it's very clear that they're not into this house. What I will say to them is I'll be like, here, I actually do have a few printouts of some listings, and I'll spread them out across the table. And I'll say, here are some other listings that we can go take a look at. I'm off at 4. Do you want to go check them out? Do you want to go check them out then? Like 99% of the time they're down. Like, they're just like, yeah, like, let's do it. They're like impressed. They know, like, nobody does that. I look at my watch every time, like, I'm off at 4. Like, do you want to go check these out? It blows them away. So try that one as well. Okay. Holly, if you're tuning in, do you have anything to add? You're kind of a good open house queen too.
Oh, thanks. I wouldn't say that, but yeah, it's just about getting their information. I'll send you the information. What's your email? What's the best email address for you? And that way I have their email, and then usually I stalk them. So see if they own, if they don't give me that information, and then I automatically set them up for like a home evaluation. But yeah, all great ideas. So.
Okay, cool. Okay. Now, the last thing that I'll do that I'll say is Dick Carr actually does what's called mega open houses, and he will print like insane amounts of signs that like have arrows being like up this way and all kinds of crazy shit. He puts them out like hours ahead of time. He has people signing in before they get in the house. He has like 4 agents working inside the house. He splits up the lists. They're like 3-day opens and things like that. So there are different ways to do open houses. I definitely don't have experience with those, but I have helped him work those. That is a whole other animal for sure. So I definitely,
but that's a good, more signs you have, the better, pointing people in the right direction. So like look at a map and figure out all the different entryways to the house and, where you need to put signs and strategize that. It's good to have 10 on hand if you're looking to order some. If you don't already have 10, it's good to have 10 on hand. I know Kate Padilla went and bought generic signs, the arrows and stuff, and just says like, keep going and stuff, but it's not branded to her. I have mixed feelings about that, but it works for her. Obviously then when they get there, they see it's listed by her. So, but she does it enough too. Now everybody knows like, oh, it's probably one of Kate's like open houses, but signage is very important. So if you want that drive-by traffic.
Yeah. And I would say like the newer you are, you kind of would want to hopefully get your branding out, like as much as possible on every corner, print as many signs as possible if you're new. So yeah, I get that though. Like, yeah, keep going and you're going in the right direction and stuff like that. I get it. But okay, inbound sign calls. So how I handle these is so I have a smart number. I'm not going to like go, just in case people watching this YouTube after the fact. I personally use KV Core, and I have a smart number dedicated to to me and my print materials. So make sure if you use a smart number that it's dedicated to you and your print materials. Otherwise, if you're printing it somewhere, your smart number cannot, if you're not specifically paying for that smart number, it could be going to other agents and you don't want that. Okay. So make sure you're specifically paying for that smart number if you're printing it somewhere. If you're creating the smart number, like a text campaign or something, then it's fine. Okay. But if you're digitally printing it somewhere, like on a sign or something, KV Core needs to have a way to trace it back to you. Okay. So I have it on my signs. I've got it everywhere. And my sign calls, how I handled them, or how I handled them before I had an ISA handling them, is when somebody calls inquiring about one of my listings, they'd be like, hey, I'm standing outside of 123 Main Street. How much is it? Or how many bedrooms is it? Or can I see it? Or whatever. And so what I'll start off is I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's my listing. And I'll be like, yeah. Whatever I give them, they're always disappointed in the answer. Have you guys noticed that? Like they want some fucking miracle. Like, did you think like this house was going to be like $100,000 under what you're looking for? But of course, when they're on the internet, they're just like scrubbing, whatever. So I always stop them before they're trying to hang up. And I go, well, are you looking for, something, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what it is, but agents are just afraid to ask questions. You have to start asking questions. Okay. And they'll always say, well, yeah. Can you find me that? It's like, well, yeah. Did you know, by the way, guys, that people still think that we can't show other companies' listings? Like they still can't get it. Like they still don't realize that, EXP can't show Remax and can't, like we need to make sure that each time we're talking to somebody that they don't understand what real estate agents do. We need to start from scratch every single time we talk on the phone with somebody. And so that's exactly what I do every single time. I'm like, listen, this is what I do for a living. Every single day I'm out there. I can do this for you. And by the way, it's free. I do this and the seller's paying for it. Who knows how long that'll last, guys. But what I'm saying is like, people don't understand that. They're so afraid of real estate agents, especially on the buyer side of things, and on the seller side, that's a whole other conversation. But you have to keep them on the phone long enough to explain this to them because they don't understand it. Then I start to say, I always lead with, are you a cash buyer or can I connect you with one of my lenders? I never ever like assume, that they're not paying cash, are you a cash buyer? Like stroke their ego, or do you want me to hook you up with one of my lenders? And like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, listen, it's no big deal. But what if we found you the perfect house tomorrow and then, in an hour it's gone because we weren't ready? And it's like, this is my job to set you up for success. So like, I just go through the whole thing. And it only takes 5 minutes. Like by the end of this call, they're like, you're a fucking miracle. You're like a walking miracle. And it's like, I know. You're welcome.
So do you mind if I share my 2 cents?
Yeah.
So this is my like area of expertise. When I was a buyer's agent, that was my job, was answering sign calls. So I had buyer agency training and coaching from the Mike Ferry organization. So it can be too aggressive for some people, but if you look up like Mike Ferry sign call script or buyer script, I always follow this process. So first of all, with their very first question, you ignore their question, right? Like you don't even answer it. You can just say, oh, okay, great. Let me look that up for you. Do you currently own a home in the area? Because oftentimes they own or rent in the area, which is why they were driving by in the first place. The next question is, how long have you been looking for a home? Oh, okay, awesome. Are you paying cash or financing? Perfect. Do you have a few minutes so I can tell you how I typically work with home buyers? Sure. Perfect. Well, what I'd love to do is set up a buyer strategy session so we can talk more about the type of home you're looking for and make sure we have all the financing in order and all the things. Answer all of your questions. Then we'll go out and we'll look at some homes. So I don't have the script in front of me, but that's how I usually convert people to appointments, to get them to do that 30-minute phone Zoom call strategy session with me and commit to using me as their agent. And usually by the end of the call, I still haven't answered their questions about the specific property they called about, because now I'm focused on, are they pre-approved? Can they even buy a house? What type of home are they looking for? So that's worked for me. It doesn't mean it'll work for everybody, but that's worked for me.
And I know that strategy, and I've heard of it, but I'm all about like treat people how you want to be treated. And I know, I'm just like, oh my God, I'd be so fucking pissed if somebody didn't answer my question.
Well, oftentimes I would just say, I don't have that file in front of me in between appointments, or now areas like I literally can't answer licensed. So
it's true. Cause if I don't, and sometimes I don't know off the top of my head, I'm like, literally, I can't quite remember if it's 180 grand or 190 grand. Let me look it up, so that's true. Yeah.
But anyways, there's always different things. So you got to find a system or a style that works for you, but stick with it, and if it's working, do it.
I just don't like if it is truly bait and switch, but it is a really good point that they do need us. They at the end of the day, they need us. What were you going to say, Annie? Oh, I thought you unmuted. Well, you don't want to talk?
Sorry, I'm in the middle of registering for a summit and listening at the same time.
Oh, you're going there?
Different summit, local.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So that's about that. I know that that's kind of not technically off the phone, but it is about lead conversion. So I wanted to throw it in there. I thought it was important. Let's talk about email marketing. Okay. I could do a whole MailChimp training if you guys want it. But what's important about email marketing, and it's cool because Annie and I actually did a class together it was IARCon, I think it was, last fall, and it was all about email newsletters, and I can't remember what the lady used, but what is cool about it, the concept is, and I have one giant long newsletter that I've kind of neglected a little bit for other projects, but I'm spinning it back up. So stand by, you guys. You're going to be blasted soon, probably this week, actually. And what's neat about it is I have one giant long newsletter, and it's called segmenting. And what's neat about it is I have certain segments where some of you are going to see certain content and others of you are going to see other content. So I am a very diverse woman, and I'm a veteran. And so I do fucked up veteran shit that sometimes only my buddy Danny is going to want to see. And then other times, Danny's also going to see real estate related content. So he's going to see some of that stuff. And then I also have my Virtuplicity stuff that all of you guys would see. And then, so it's got all kinds of like different content that's just one. It's nice because I can keep it in all one giant long ass newsletter that markets to consumers, real estate related stuff, my Virtuplicity stuff, my fun veteran content, everything. And you can segment it, and that way it doesn't have to cringily get sent out to the wrong people. But then you also don't have to do a whole bunch of different things or a whole bunch of different newsletters. Also, for my KV Core lovers out there, you can tie your MailChimp to your KV Core database. So that's kind of cool too. I haven't done it yet because it is expensive to connect that many users to KV Core. But as soon as I have the budget for it, I do plan to do it. I have a database of like 6,000 people now in my KV Core. So the higher your MailChimp gets, the higher your subscription fees are. Okay. MailChimp is actually free when you start. And then it's like, I think I'm sitting at like, gosh, now like $100 a month or something like that. And then it just gets higher and higher. So it just, everything has a price. But I could do like a whole demo on that, and I can and will in the future. I'm just watching the clock right now. I want to talk about PandaDoc now. That is a fun contract system. I currently use .loop actually right now for contracts for our why the fuck can't I talk, guys? Maybe, I don't know, like you guys are throwing me off. I don't know what it is, but so PandaDoc. Okay. .loop I use for contracts, for fucking sending out contracts for people to sign. You know the drill, right? Okay. So PandaDoc is something I actually discovered when I started my other business, and I'm sending contracts out to people. But what's neat about PandaDoc is when I send contracts out, I can actually check the analytics on it. So I can send a contract out and I can see what pages they looked at, when they stopped the scroll, how long they stopped on a certain page, how long they took looking at a certain page. So imagine if you guys are actually sending out offer paperwork and then you're like, why the fuck haven't they signed this shit? What's the holdup, or what's happening over here? You know what I mean? And now I'm like, I think I might actually, like when it comes to conversion and stuff, imagine sending out your EBAs or whatever you're sending out that you're nervous about people signing. I think I might convert my shit over to PandaDoc because I want to know what my clients, like what's making their brains tick. I think I might want to know inside their heads, like what the holdup is. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you. And if you're interested in a class or seeing the analytics and the studies of that in the future, I'm happy to do it. Another cool thing and a safety measure on it is you can actually mask the fields in PandaDoc. So they can type something out and then it covers it up later. There's all kinds of just different fields and security measures that I thought were really interesting. There are some drawbacks to it. There's some like organization things that I'm not sure about yet. So I'm still figuring out some things to it, but I'm intrigued, guys. I'm intrigued. So I wanted to share that with you as well. Yeah, I think that those are the main things. Matt, what am I missing?
So you've talked about the PandaDocs, the MailChimp. Oh, social media, because that's also one thing, that most entrepreneurs can leverage on when it comes to, off the phone.
Here's something interesting I've been doing, guys. So on LinkedIn, I've actually been pivoting, and I haven't been taking LinkedIn seriously in the past, and I've been taking it a lot more serious now. And I have been taking meetings with anybody who's been asking for a meeting from me. In the past, people have been kind of like spamming me on LinkedIn and stuff, and I've been kind of like rolling my eyes or whatever. But I've actually been saying yes to anybody who wants to have a meeting with me on LinkedIn. And when they book a meeting with me, it has actually been pretty much more often than not fruitful to growing my network. And, you know, it's just, I pretty much usually try to keep it to about 15 minutes, 15 to a half an hour max virtually, you know, and they have been going really well. The network has been growing very nicely. I have connected with some actually pretty good people. I've reconnected with some cool people from my past. It's been going really well. I would say don't be afraid to take meetings with people you don't know. Don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone on that stuff. And then also, like, I listen to them, and then I just flip the script and sell them what I have. So like, if you are into recruiting and you know, if they're trying to sell you on something, listen to what they have to say and then turn it around and present what you have, you know, like meetings should be mutual, and it has worked out very well for us. And so, so don't be afraid to do that. But, at the very beginning of the year, it was going to be like Instagram and YouTube hardcore for us, but we've decided to add LinkedIn as another big primary platform for us. So do not be afraid to do things like that and to completely be open to things like that. But social media in general is definitely, you guys have always known that for us, for business, it's huge. And unless you want to be stuck on the phones with your lead conversion, you need to get your ass out there on social media and at least be spending 1 hour a day minimum, you know, dealing with social media. I spend a lot more. I mean, man, Edward, you and I had a 3-hour meeting last night. 3 hours.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
That was nuts. We were exhausted by the end of that meeting. So yeah, we had a 3-hour social media management meeting, just the two of us. And by the end of it, I was like, I don't know, we like blacked out or something, lost time. I mean, like I looked and it was like damn near 9 p.m. I'm like, my husband's like, where's dinner? Everything. It was messed up. But anyway, so social media is important. You need to strategize, get your content together. Maybe we could put something together if they wanted some sort of like 30 days content calendar generic for them, just to have an idea of how to post. Maybe we could do some sort of giveaway. That'd be kind of cool. So I would say you gotta take that seriously and be consistent. So yep.
Yeah.
Any
And I also,
questions on any of the, go ahead, Matt.
yeah, sure. I just want to add one more thing about social media. So you have to, you know, you have to like make sure that your social media works like your website. All right. So you do have a call to action. You have to optimize your social media, you know, telling the people what you are doing, what you're offering, so that when they visit your social media, you know, they would know. And since you do have a call to action, you can go ahead and probably generate leads, or if the people visiting your social media would like to know more, then there's, you know, a call to action that they can utilize.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And then also, can you also caveat, you had a couple of thoughts to add about a couple of extra things about to add from last week's. Can you just touch on that for anybody that tuned in?
Oh yeah, because last week I think we had a meeting with, or we had a guest, his Chris, I guess. Was that Chris or
Phil
Phil?
Dodds.
Phil Dodds, yeah. He covered up like strategies in social media. But I think there's missing there on that topic, which is, you have to make sure that you know what are the features and differences between social media, because TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and also LinkedIn are all different and they have different features. So make sure that you know all the features. For example, in Instagram or in Facebook, it's more on marketing. You have to also understand which, age range are using the platform. For example, for TikTok, most of the people there are, Gen Z. All right. For YouTube, that's for all ages. For Facebook, same thing. That's for all ages. And YouTube as well is more on educational content. So, you might want to post there like, a day in a life if you're a vlogger, of course. But if you're an entrepreneur, might as well, post some educational video to make sure that people know what you're doing, that you are, a master of what you're doing. And aside from that, for Facebook, it's more on marketing, making sure that you are expanding your network on Facebook, because that's the best feature that Facebook can give you. Now for LinkedIn, it's more on professional side of social media. So, it's just like your website for LinkedIn. Make sure that you're optimizing all your social media profiles, but then again, make sure to understand each social media profiles. And we can go ahead and cover all the topics about it. It's just that, it's too long to talk about it right now. But we can go ahead and do a different WTF Wednesday for that if you'd like to.
I like that. Because for instance, we have a system now where, let's say for when we're doing a certain post, I adjust the caption, or let's say like on Instagram, I'm going to do something racier, or I'm going to cuss a lot more, but like on LinkedIn, I'm not going to fucking put it all out there. I'm going to be like a bit more profesh, things like that. And then for instance, like on YouTube, Matt's he bleeps out all my cuss words, because he's just like, I don't want, when we go to apply for monetization, once we're qualified, I don't want us turned down because you fucking cuss so much, Sandy. So he knows all that shit. So basically, like, it's just really interesting, all that stuff that he teaches me on that aspect. So does anybody have any questions about any of the topics that we covered? I hope this was valuable for you guys, worth your time. Okay.
Finally. Sorry, Zoom is not working with my sound, but thank you for all the information for this.
Oh, good. Good, Alexa. I'm glad you enjoyed.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the popple and just got it set up. So thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. I've used it for years. And so that's something that I've actually stuck with. So that's why I waited to put it out there till after I've used it for like a while. So
It's always good to know that I'm not the only one setting up these things as Sandy's talking about them.
I feel like you're doing that on every week, Alexa.
I'm new to EXP and everything, all this new stuff. I'm from an old school real estate where you did all the legwork and everything yourself. Not all these apps and everything.
I mean, to be fair, I tried to present EXP to Alexa back in 2019, so.
Yeah, I was stubborn.
But
It only took her 2 years.
she
Get me to join.
listened. She at least gave me a meeting, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. All right, guys. Well, this was great. This was a great WTF Wednesday. 40-year-old Sandy will not be doing WTF Wednesday next week because I figure everybody's going to be gone for spring break next week. So I feel like nobody's going to show up. Do you think I should cancel?
I can't afford a vacation, so I'm cool.
So do you think I should do it? I'm not going to be gone.
Truthfully,
not-
here in Kansas City, we've got so many school districts. It's like the entire month of March just rotates through the different school districts on who's on spring break. So it's like an entire month of spring break around here.
We're living in spring break, you know, so it doesn't really matter.
Shut up, Kennedy. Always rubbing it in. All right. Well, then if you guys are going to be around, then I'll do it next week because I'll be around.
Cool. We'll see you next week.
Okay, cool. See you next week, guys.
Thank
See
you,
ya.
guys.